The boy I had been supporting turned out to have always resented me. He resented that I was a woman, yet could achieve such great success in my career. He resented that I was a woman, yet could make so much money. He resented that I was a woman, yet could reject his advances and choose to stay single and enjoy life for the rest of my life. So he and his mother tricked me into coming back and killed me, dumping my body deep in the cold mountains. Only then did I learn that he also had a frail, kind younger sister, who carried my remains step by step out of the mountains and contacted my parents so they could bring me home. After being reborn, I chose to find that abused girl, help her fly out of the mountains, and become an eagle soaring with outstretched wings. I jolted awake, feeling as if I had just had a nightmare. In the dream, Zhou Yan and his mother Wang Qiuju's ferocious, terrifying faces kept enlarging before my eyes, blood gushing from my throat, and the suffocating feeling was almost about to swallow me whole. I gasped for breath, looking at the exquisitely decorated, brightly lit room, lying on a soft, oversized bed, and thought in a daze, wasn't I already dead, killed by the boy I had supported and his mother working together? I had supported Zhou Yan for 10 years, from the age of 15 to 25. It was fair to say I had watched this boy grow up, almost like half a mother to him. I put him through the best high school in the city and covered all his tuition and living expenses. Zhou Yan also lived up to expectations. His grades were always among the best, and he even got into a very excellent 985 university for college, so I supported him through college as well, and at his pleading, I was even preparing to continue funding his graduate studies. I always believed Zhou Yan was a conscientious and down-to-earth child, so almost anything he wanted, I would buy and give to him: books, clothes, shoes, a phone, a tablet, a laptop, and so on. I also visited him every now and then and paid a great deal of attention to this child. The only small flaw was that Zhou Yan was a little vain. He had once asked me to buy him a pair of limited edition running shoes worth more than 1,000 yuan, and that was one of the few times I refused him. A pair of running shoes costing over 1,000 yuan was not cheap, and for a child from a family struggling even to make ends meet, it was not appropriate. I explained the reasoning behind it to him, and in the end told him, "You need to earn money yourself to buy something like this." Although Zhou Yan was disappointed, he said he understood. I also understood this behavior of his. It was inevitable for children to compare themselves with one another, and being a little vain was normal. As long as he was properly guided, that would be enough. And Zhou Yan's mother also seemed to be a very warm and simple woman. From time to time, she would send me some local specialties, and every time she saw me, she would smile. I felt that both mother and son were kind and simple, so I was happy to help them financially. At the beginning of the year, I completed a major project at the company and got promoted again. I was earning more, had moved into a larger house, and my future looked bright. The next time Zhou Yan's mother sent me something, I gave her my new address. Zhou Yan asked me why I had changed places, so I told him I had moved, and also told him about my promotion, using it as a kind of encouragement for him. "You're a smart kid, study hard and finish your graduate degree, and it'll be much easier to find a job after you graduate. Once you make a lot of money, you'll be able to buy your own house, and then you can bring your mother to live in the city too." Zhou Yan was silent for a moment, then said that it was winter break now and he wanted to come see me, and also do some sightseeing. I agreed. When I was still living in the old house, Zhou Yan had been there many times, so with the new place it would also help him get familiar with the route. I went to the airport to pick him up. The once thin and undersized child had now grown increasingly tall and upright, and as soon as we met, he told me that he had once again come in first at the academy. I was very happy and told him, "I'll reimburse the cost of this trip, and I'll give you an extra 800 yuan as a reward. Go buy yourself something you like." Zhou Yan's eyes lit up, and, just like before, he said joyfully, "Thank you, sis." He seemed to really like my house. He wandered back and forth through different rooms several times, saying enviously, "Sis, your new house is so big." I smiled and patted his shoulder. "If you like something, you have to work hard to get it." Zhou Yan stayed with me for a week and visited all the scenic spots in the surrounding area. He usually lives at my home, and he's very well behaved and obedient. He even takes the initiative to cook and do housework. I feel that sponsoring this boy was one of the rightest things I've ever done. Then one day, Zhou Yan suddenly asked me if I could accompany him home for a trip. His mother really wanted to thank me in person. I hadn't gone traveling in a long time, so I agreed, thinking that after seeing Zhou Yan's mother, I could also take the chance to visit the surrounding areas. So we went to his home together. Zhou Yan's mother was, as always, warm and enthusiastic. she prepared a table full of dishes, repeatedly thanked me for my guidance and support, and sincerely invited me to stay for the night and leave tomorrow. I agreed with a smile. What a gentle and kind family they were. After dinner, Zhou Yan took me for a walk in the yard behind his house to help digest the meal. Unexpectedly, he shyly confessed to me, saying, "Sister, I like you, can you be with me?" I was very surprised and firmly turned him down. I had never realized that he actually had these thoughts. I told him that I was someone who chose to stay single, enjoyed living alone, and did not want to date or have a family. Besides, my feelings for Zhou Yan were nothing more than those of a pure benefactor and an elder, and I hoped he could grow into someone useful to society. His confession was truly beyond my expectations, and I realized I could no longer treat him the way I did when he was a child. It would be best to keep some distance. Zhou Yan looked very downcast. On the way back, he didn't say a word, and after he escorted me to my room, he left. That night, for some reason, I fell asleep especially quickly and deeply. I vaguely felt my body swaying, but my eyelids were so heavy I couldn't lift them. When I woke up, I found that I was no longer in my room, too. I was lying on a cold floor, with iron chains binding my limbs and neck. My clothes were in tatters, and not a single part of my body felt okay. I was cold and in pain all over. I realized that I seemed to have been kidnapped and imprisoned, and overwhelming panic swallowed me. Is anyone there? Help! I tried to shout for help, but my throat felt like it was burning too, and I couldn't make much of a sound. The iron gate clanged with a loud rattle, then opened. Zhou Yan walked in and looked down at me from above. I had never thought that face, which had always seemed so honest and docile, could look so terrifying. Ching, the way you're lying on the ground right now looks just like a dog. Ha ha ha. Zhou Yan's eyes were filled with unfamiliar contempt and mania. After being insulted like that by him, I was then kicked hard in the abdomen, and the pain made me convulse on the spot. You're just a woman, what right do you have to refuse me? Huh, you bitch, you don't even know where all that money came from, don't you know it in your heart? You've probably already been used up by plenty of men, so stop pretending to be so pure in front of me. My mom told me women are born to serve men. You're supposed to serve me, got it? And you still dare to refuse me? You make so much money and only bother to buy me those crappy little things to brush me off. You wear clothes that cost over 1,000 yuan, but you only buy me stuff that costs a few hundred. You made me get laughed at by my classmates for being poor. It's all your fault, you bitch. I asked you for a pair of limited edition shoes and you wouldn't even buy them for me. You even lectured me and told me not to be vain. Women like you are the vain ones, right? Do you even have the right to say that? Huh? He kept punching me over and over, and all I could do was howl in pain, curled up in the corner and sobbing. It hurts so much. Can someone please save me? Why are they doing this to me? I don't know how long I was locked up. I was constantly subjected to all kinds of humiliation from Zhou Yan, as well as beatings from him and Wang Qiuju. I was living in a state worse than neither human nor ghost, barely clothed, my body covered in wounds and scabs, with dried black blood all over me. But that was when I discovered that Zhou Yan's home actually had a little girl too. It was impossible to tell her age. She looked bloodless and was so thin she was nothing but skin and bones. Every day, it was she who brought me food and fed me. She never spoke, and her body was covered in wounds too. She was numb, like a zombie, but she would secretly clean my body and tend to my wounds, and sometimes she would hold me and cry silently. Whenever that happened, I would laboriously raise my arm to pat her head and wipe away her tears. She secretly tried many ways to open my chains, like cutting them with a knife or prying them apart with a wire, but none of them worked. I wrote my mother's phone number on her palm, and she nodded and ran out quickly, but soon she was dragged back, beaten to the brink of death by Zhou Yan, blood streaming from her nose and mouth, looking as if she might not survive. Zhou Yan threw her in front of me and sneered, "Still hoping she'd save you." I shed so many tears that I became increasingly numb, more and more haggard, like a madman. Finally, one day, when Zhou Yan was humiliating me, I pulled out a small piece of broken glass I had secretly hidden before and, with all my strength, stabbed it into his throat. It was a shard from the last time Zhou Yan got drunk and smashed a bottle against my back, leaving it shattered. That time my skin was torn open and my wretched screams went on, and Zhou Yan almost beat me to death, but I had no strength left, and the piece of glass wasn't sharp enough. It only cut open Zhou Yan's neck and missed the carotid artery. He was instantly enraged. He yanked the shard out and shoved it into my eye, then punched me again and again until I was a bloody pulp. "You dare hurt my son, you bitch," Zhou Yan's mother cursed as she rushed in and slit my throat open completely with a knife. They dumped my corpse in the wilderness, but my soul did not disappear right away. Instead, it drifted back with Zhou Yan to his home. I watched as Zhou Yan took the keys and went to my house, sold off everything valuable, then returned to his own turf, bribed the local police to issue my accidental death certificate, forged my will, and finally took all my assets for himself. My body could not be laid to rest, and my soul seemed destined to drift like this, watching Zhou Yan use my money to buy people's loyalty everywhere. With his impressive academic credentials, he landed a good job at a great company, made connections with some powerful people, and later teamed up with them to start a business. They made a fortune and became well-known wealthy merchants in the area, gaining both fame and wealth. Zhou Yan also bought the large house he had once longed for, lavishly decorated inside, with guests coming and going endlessly. I saw that they were still often beating that little girl who had once brought me meals, and only then did I realize she was actually Zhou Yan's biological younger sister. Named Zhou Pei, she was already 20, but long-term malnutrition and abuse had made her look only 14 or 15. Zhou Yan and his mother believed the girl was a cursed child, filthy, a piece of property, anything but a person. They made her do all the housework and serve the mother and son, but she often ran into the mountains and woods when Zhou Yan and his mother were away. I think she may have wanted to look for my remains. I saw my parents turn gray overnight when they learned of my death. They did not believe I had died in an accident and never gave up searching for my body, but my body had already rotted away in the deep mountains, until one day, I saw the petite girl in Zhou Yan's family break free from her restraints and run out because she did not want to be sold to an old man. As she darted through the woods, she somehow stumbled over my remains by sheer accident. She seemed to sense something. She crouched down, ignoring the filth, and carefully examined them. Through the iron chain around the neck of the skeleton, she recognized me, the chain she had tried countless times to break open, but had never succeeded. She carried my decaying bones on her back while crying, her soles rubbed raw and bleeding. I had no idea how long she walked. Many times she almost got discovered, but she would hide, wait for people to pass, and then keep going. I also had no idea where she got such determination, using her tiny body to carry me out of the mountains and into the crowded streets, so that everyone could see. A child covered in blood carrying a skeleton was such a horrifying scene that it eventually alerted the city police. The police came to take the girl and my bones away, had a forensic doctor perform an autopsy, and confirmed my identity. The girl actually still remembered the phone number I had once written for her. She finally dialed it, and I heard her say haltingly, "I found big sister, uncle and aunt. Please come and take sister home." It turned out she could speak, but her voice was hoarse, as if her throat had been damaged. Her parents wept over the phone, heartbroken to the point of despair, and everyone was moved by it. My remains were cremated, and then taken back by my parents, whose eyes had nearly been blinded by tears, to be buried in the place where I had grown up. At last, my soul returned to its homeland. 3. When I opened my eyes, I was once again lying on the soft, comfortable bed in the hotel. Yes, in my previous life it had been like this too. I was traveling here recently, and by chance I ran into Zhou Yan's family, seeing the thin boy working in the fields under the blazing sun, and still reading and studying during his breaks. His diligence and thirst for knowledge stirred my pity, and I offered to sponsor him. The phone rang, and the two characters Zhou Yan were clearly displayed on the screen. I was startled. I glanced at the date. Today, unbelievably, was the day I was supposed to sponsor Zhou Yan. I sneered, "Fund him, dream on, in this life. I'll repay kindness with kindness and revenge with revenge." This time, I brought 2 bodyguards with me and put on the airs of a spoiled heiress who was not to be trifled with. Before going to the financial aid center, Zhou Yan and his mother were already there. In my previous life, I felt sorry for that thin but hard-working boy and, without a second thought, offered him support. I never expected I'd end up supporting an ungrateful wretch. I watched coldly as the two of them played the part of the pitiful poor, talking about how hard life was at home and how badly Zhou Yan wanted to study. They were putting on quite the convincing show. I looked down at that child from a position of superiority and said with disgust, "He's too old, and too ugly. Do you have any other children in your family? If not, forget it. I don't want to sponsor a kid I can't stand to look at." Mother Zhou's expression changed at once. After all, I had seemed gentle and easy to talk to before, so she had assumed it was a sure thing that I would sponsor her son. Zhou Yan also lifted his head abruptly, and the vicious look in his eyes startled me. there was absolutely no way a 15-year-old child could have such a gaze. Could Zhou Yan have been reborn too? The next second, he withdrew that look and started crying. Boo-hoo, sister, why are you saying that about me? I work really hard at school, can you help me? The director of the aid center also hurriedly tried to persuade me. Although this kid is thin and frail, he's not ugly, look, his features aren't bad, he just hasn't had enough to eat. And is starving, I said impatiently. I said he's ugly, so he's ugly, he's as ugly as a pig. If there are no other kids, I'll switch to another place. I'm not giving out this 3,000 yuan a month to just anyone. I deliberately brought up the amount of the sponsorship, knowing that a greedy woman like Mother Zhou would definitely not give up. 3,000 yuan may not seem like much in the city, but for people like them living deep in the mountains, it's practically a fortune, half a year's living expenses, and it can let them live a good life. Sure enough, Zhou's mother immediately panicked and hurriedly said, yes, I still have another child, it's just a money-losing burden. I frowned. What do you mean, a money-losing burden? Zhou's mother said awkwardly, my daughter. I let out a cold snort. A daughter is a money-losing burden. Are you out of your mind? Bring her here and let me see. Zhou Yan lunged over and grabbed my leg. Sister, I know I was wrong, don't abandon me, please. Sponsor me, I promise I'll treat you well. At a glance from me, the bodyguards immediately stepped forward and pulled him aside. I picked up my bag as if to leave. Your son is like a madman, there's no way I'm sponsoring him. Since you're being so unreasonable, then don't expect to get a single cent. Mother Zhou immediately knelt down and cried out, benefactor, don't go, I'll have someone bring my daughter over right away. Please take another look. I reluctantly agreed, tossed her a red bill, and said contemptuously, give you half an hour to bring the person here. My time is very valuable, and I can't wait long. If it weren't for that girl, I wouldn't have been here arguing with her at all. This woman cared about money more than anything else, and sure enough, after giving her some benefits, although this place was still some distance from the Zhou family, the Zhou family's daughter still appeared in front of me within half an hour. She had been put into an ill-fitting new outfit, which also looked like it had been bought in a hurry. Her face had been wiped down too, probably because she was afraid I still wouldn't be satisfied. I looked at her timid eyes and her emaciated body, and a surge of rage welled up inside me. Zhou Yan and his mother are both trash. The girl absolutely cannot be left in their family any longer. I put on a very interested expression, carefully studied the girl's face for a moment, and then said to Zhou's mother, I think she looks pretty good and suits my taste. How about this? I don't have any children of my own and want to adopt her. Name your price. Zhou's mother never expected things to turn this way and was immediately dumbfounded. This, how can that be? I was still waiting to raise her and then sell her, marry her off. I impatiently interrupted her. 30,000 yuan, is that okay? If not, forget it. I can just go to an orphanage and adopt another one. Zhou's mother had hardly ever seen that much money. She was instantly dazed by the sudden windfall, but Zhou Yan tugged at her and said quietly, 3,000 yuan a month, and in 10 months we'll have 30,000. If we sell that money-losing burden to her, where are we going to get more money later? Zhou's mother nodded repeatedly. My son really is smart, she said firmly. No, we're not selling our daughter, you can only support us. I gave a mocking smile. Then forget it, let's go and adopt one from an orphanage. Seeing that I was really about to leave, Mother Zhou suddenly knelt down again and wailed, 30,000 it is, then 30,000, I only have this one daughter, you must treat her well. I smiled, very well, then let's go handle the paperwork now. Zhou Yan glared at me with a sinister, deathly stare, making me think of how vicious he had been when he beat me in my past life. In this life, rot in that mountain ravine for all I care for. With my money power, the transfer and adoption procedures were completed quickly. The girl's original name was Zhou Pei. I changed it to Chen Chaoan, hoping she would have a smooth, peaceful life. The little girl was very quiet, with a dim gaze. She probably didn't know what else she would have to face in the future and was scared in her heart. I comfortingly rubbed her head and said to her, don't be afraid. I took Chen Chaoan's hand and was about to leave when Zhou Yan grabbed my wrist from behind, his expression frenzied. Chen Qingqing, did you also get reborn? It was you who turned me into that state, so you have to take responsibility. Why is it that on the second chance around, you won't sponsor me anymore? Why is it that you, a woman, have such good luck? The bodyguard grabbed him and shoved him away. He lost his footing and staggered, falling to the ground. Zhou Mu rushed over and started crying and shouting at the top of her lungs again. Oh heavens, Why did you push my son? He's still a child. How could you be so heartless? Ching, you bitch, you hurt him. So you must pay our medical expenses, trying to extort people so brazenly. I was almost laughed out of anger. I slapped her across the face. So what if I hit him? Your son is acting like a lunatic. Don't be so shameless after getting any courtesy. Keep pestering me and I'll have someone beat him to death. Do you believe me? And medical expenses. All the injuries on my daughter were caused by you people. Medical expenses are 10,000 yuan. Hand it over. My expression was dark and menacing, and the two bodyguards behind me looked like grim reapers. Making her shiver, she could only cry and sniffle without daring to say another word. Dragging Zhou Yan away, I took Chen Chaoan to the hospital and had her undergo a comprehensive physical examination. She was gaunt and frail, severely malnourished, and covered in shocking scars, which made the doctors look at me strangely. They probably thought I was the one abusing her. The little girl was still much like she had been in her previous life, hardly saying a word at all, but after the examination, the doctor said her throat was perfectly fine. She probably just didn't like talking. I stroked her hair and said gently, "From now on, I'm your mom, I'll protect you, and no one will ever be able to hurt you again. Do you believe me?" Chen Chaoan finally looked up at me, tears glimmering in her eyes. This little girl may never in her life have received even the slightest kindness from the outside world. She was only 10, yet she was already living in a way that left her unable to see a future. "Mom," she finally choked out. It was not the hoarse, unpleasant voice from her past life, but a clear and bright teenage girl's voice. I held her tightly, a relieved smile appearing on my face. This time in my life, I had finally been one step ahead and rescued her before she suffered those irreversible harms. "Mom's name is Chen Qingqing. From now on, you'll take Mom's surname and be called Chen Chaoan." I smiled as I coaxed her. "Our Chaoan will surely be able to head toward peace and live a smooth, peaceful life." Chen Chaoan buried her face in my arms and cried bitterly, her sobs racking her body as if she wanted to pour out all the grievances she had endured in the past. I gently patted her back, my eyes growing wet with tears as well. "Chaoan, in my previous life you saved me, carried my remains out of the mountains, freed my soul, and gave me the chance to be reborn. In this life, I will spare no effort to protect you, cherish you, and love you, so that you become the happiest, most joyful child in the entire world." When Chen Chaoan had recovered enough, I took her back to my parents' home and told them I had adopted the child. My parents both loved children. My mother pulled her into her arms and said with heartache, "Why is this child so thin? She's all bones. Is she sick?" As she spoke, she kept stuffing all kinds of food into Chaoan's hands. Chaoan had never received so much kindness and affection before. Holding the orange in her hands, she looked at me. A little at a loss, I smiled and gently pinched her slightly fairer, fuller cheeks, which had been nourished a bit over the past 2 days. "Do you know these are Grandpa and Grandma? They'll love you just like Mom does." "Grandpa, Grandma," Chaoan called out softly, and my mom happily stuffed a big red envelope into his hands. Take it, buy something you like, and if there's anything else you want, tell Grandma. Grandma will buy it for you." Holding the red envelope, tears started falling from Chaoan's eyes again. He choked out, thank you, Grandma." My mom was startled and, heartbroken, pulled Chaoan into her arms to comfort him. There, don't cry, child. Have you been wronged? Tell Grandma, and I'll stand up for you." Chaoan kept shaking his head. "No wrong, I'm just too happy." Mom gently wiped away her tears. "You should smile when you're happy. Why are you crying?" Your mom used to love laughing when she was little. If someone teased her even a little, she'd giggle non-stop like a little chick. The way she described it made Chaoan laugh, even with tears still in her eyes. The corners of her eyes were already crinkling. My own eyes also grew a little damp. My parents had always been such kind and gentle people, nourishing every child with love. In my past life, they had treated Zhou Yan very well too, but they never imagined he was such a piece of trash, the one who killed their most beloved daughter. I also remembered how they simply refused to believe I was dead, stormed off to confront Zhou Yan, only to be beaten and injured by the people Zhou Yan brought with him. After that, they kept running from place to place searching for me, filing police reports and appeals everywhere, their only wish being to find their daughter again, alive, if possible, and if not, then at least her body. Then, when they truly saw my bones, they cried so hard it shattered their hearts, as though they no longer wished to live. Thank you to my dad and Mom for not giving up on me, and thank you to Chen Chaoan for saving my life. For the rest of my life, I will make Zhou Yan and her son pay the price. Blood for blood. I used my connections to get Chen Chaoan into a nearby middle school, where the teaching atmosphere was pretty good and the teachers were very kind. I was often busy with work, so to take care of Chaoan, my parents also moved over to live with us. But no matter how busy or tired I was every day, I would always make time to hold Chaoan and tell her bedtime stories, making up for the childhood the little girl had missed. Under the loving care of my parents and me, Chen Chaoan slowly came out of the shadows and became more and more lively, cheerful, outstanding, and beautiful. She made new friends and was also very popular with her classmates and teachers at school, but Chaoan still depended on me the most. She would often cling to me as soon as I got home, sticking to me tightly like a little piece of sticky taffy, sharing everything that happened at school with me, and asking what I had eaten today, what I had done, and how I was feeling. She was like a thoughtful little angel, gentle and kind, loving me with all her heart, and gradually, I came to love her more and more too. What had begun as gratitude slowly turned into true love, and I treated her as if she were my own child. 5. Our family lived a warm and happy life. I had not forgotten Zhou Yan and his mother, those ungrateful ingrates either, and I kept hiring people to keep an eye on them, with regular updates reported to me. Sure enough, after getting that 30,000 yuan, Zhou Yan and his mother spent recklessly for quite a while, buying the best clothes and shoes. Zhou Yan was adored by countless people at school and grew smug and conceited, accustomed to spending money extravagantly. He quickly blew through the 30,000 yuan. To survive, they began selling off the things in their home, until all that was left was an empty house. In the end, even the house was sold, and that money carried them through for another 2 years. Zhou Yan could not settle down at all. His mind was full of thoughts about taking crooked paths to make big money. The studies he had once been proud of in his past life plummeted, and by the time the 3 years of high school were over, he couldn't even achieve the grades for a junior college. At school, the teachers would sigh and shake their heads whenever they saw him, lamenting how such a promising seed had been reduced to this by his own self-destruction. Zhou Yan's expression darkened. What was the use of studying? Money was the most real thing of all. A bunch of fools. Since the family's money had run out, he could only keep wearing the same old clothes and eat the cheap meals in the cafeteria. His mentality became increasingly distorted and sensitive, and he felt like everyone around him was mocking him. The person who reported to me said that the mother and son even got into arguments every couple of days, and would physically fight each other too. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard that. Actually, from the moment I confirmed that Zhou Yan had been reborn, I knew he was bound to fall into the mire in this life, because in his last life, wealth came too quickly to Zhou Yan, and he climbed too high. Someone as vain as him could not accept the feeling of falling from a great height, and he could not endure a hard life either. He had already become unable to calm down and study, then slowly work his way back up. Of course, even if he really had that kind of willpower, I'd still arrange all sorts of temptations, wine, women, and nightlife, to lure him into corruption. How could I possibly let scum like him have a chance to get back on his feet? That day I got a call from Zhou Yan. At first I wanted to reject it outright, but I was also curious to see what kind of trick he was planning, so I answered it. Chen Qingqing, transfer some money to me. He spoke in a bossy, imperious tone over the phone. I laughed in anger. Who do you think you are, asking me for money? Are you out of your mind? Chen Qingqing, I'm telling you, if you don't transfer the money, I'll sue you for child trafficking. Zhou Yan threatened me in a panic. Child trafficking? I sounded like I'd just heard the biggest joke in the world. I legally adopted the child, so go ahead and sue me, asshole. After saying that, I hung up the phone. I shouldn't have taken the call in the first place just to piss myself off. The next day, the person who was reporting to me called. Miss Chen, Zhou Yan and his mother are gone. They haven't come home since last night.